What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. I am joined by the homie, Steve Ngati. Steve, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. What's up, everybody? What's up, RJ? How you doing?
Man, I'm good, because you're going into a national championship winning season for the Oklahoma Sooners. What about your Longhorns?
Not so fast, my friend. In the respected words of Mr. Lee Corso. I really like what your squad has on paper for 2021, objectively speaking. But let's pump the brakes on the national championship.
I'm sorry, is it the Casey Thompson era over there? Because I thought it was the Malik Murphy era already.
Hey, that's your boy though. Hey. Listen, it's a new day in Sarkville, man. It's a new day in Austin, Texas. I'm not going to beat my chest, and I know you're trolling already with "Are we back yet?" and all the nonsense you've been posting on here, but there is a reason for optimism. There is a reason, especially now that we have a national championship, Broyles Award winner, Steve Sarkisian, and coming in and actually hiring a grown-up adult staff. Something that we've missed here with our previous, couple head coaching hires. So there's a real reason for optimism, I think, in year one, RJ.
All right, first I gotta go at this because you bring up Steve Sarkisian and the new era and whatnot. Yo, man, didn't Tom Herman win a national championship as an offensive coordinator?
And he won a Broyles Award.
Just throw it. It feels like y'all going back to the same old playbook is what it feels like. Feels like you decided you wanted to go, be kind of sort of approaching good with a new face. That's how it felt. You know what I mean? But I get what you want. First, why you got to throw shade at the entire staff? You threw shade at the entire staff. I get it.
Look,
Jeff Banks is that dude. Kyle Flood is that dude, right? We go down the list, Blake Gideon. But you was really that upset with him?
I mean, upon further review, let's call a spade a spade. Those were G5 coaches that Tom brought over the first time. And when you have unlimited resources at the University of Texas, you need to act as such. And when you look at Jeff, like you said, Jeff Banks, Kyle Flood, even Coach Kwiatkowski and all the brilliant hires, in my opinion, on paper, it's a much stronger resume driven group where you're like, okay, let's at least get to the point where we're not having to turn the staff over from they're not performing perspective 2 years from now versus having the conversation of, oh, how do we fill this person's spot because they're killing it at their position. Texas hasn't been able to have those conversations in a long time.
I saw they kept staying though, and I was happy to see that because Drayton been on another level in that recruiting. But your running back coach, I feel like is always going to be your best recruiter. That is the way that they set up the staff. Robert Gillespie going from North Carolina, Alabama is not an accident, right? Charles Huff going from being running backs coach at Alabama to being a head coach at Marshall is not an accident. DeMarco Murray getting on at Oklahoma is not an accident. And then for Sark to look around and be like, the kids love Stan. And Stan brought in Bijan. Stan brought in Roshan, right? The running backs depth chart has never been a real issue for y'all. Even losing Keontae Ingram to USC, you would think is perhaps a big deal. But it turns out not to be, right? Now, I'm not the biggest Keontae Ingram fan, right? I liked him coming out of Carthage, but, I liked his little brother coming out of Carthage too. We'll see what happens over there. But, if I'm going down that staff and I'm looking at the accolades that they have put together and the kind of wins that they've got, like Jeff Banks going to get Kamara Wheaton toward the end there, right? Getting Jason McClellan in the boat, right? That's a running back, though. Those are running backs. What you have been missing, in my opinion, right, as a dude that rocks with you and rocks with Texas fans, but you know what it is. We don't need to go through that. I always thought that you weren't getting enough out of the defense. Caden Stearns was that dude. Matter of fact, I did a interview with Jalen Waddle, right? And the reason
I saw that. Really good interview. I like that kid.
I like him too. He was down to play and we had a good time. But one of the things I touched on was he was the only player among the top 15 in the state of Texas to choose not to go, not just to leave Texas, but not to go to A&M or UT. He won a national championship. A&M can't get past Alabama in the SEC West, and y'all can't get past Oklahoma in the Big 12. And I'm looking at the talent, and I'm going, well, y'all had it. Y'all had it. A&M got it. So is it really just going to be about what Pete Kwiatkowski can do and what Blake Gideon can do and what those dudes can do with the dudes I know you got, right? You know how much I love Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton. I mean, moving Joseph aside was the smartest thing that happened all last year, but it just didn't pan out. So, like, is it really the assistants? Because I've been saying development is key, but sometimes I look and I say, I don't know, if you're able to keep Malcolm for a little bit longer, or excuse me, not Malcolm, Malik Jefferson for a little bit longer, maybe that dude turns into a first-round pick for you. Is that why you were so upset with your quote-unquote G5 coaches?
Well, I mean, you look at the beginning, they came in at a point where some guys did get developed. I'm not trying to sell everybody under, everybody's short. Right. Oscar Giles was doing his job. Those defensive linemen that ended up getting underdrafted, in my opinion, the Charles Omenihu's of the world, the Poona Fords who go undrafted, Malcolm Roach last year who's undrafted, and he ends up making the 53 and playing in a playoff game, right? So they've had coaches on the staff that, can have success with these guys and develop them. My issue overall with the staff, though, is when you look at some of these heavy hitters, the offensive line, you're talking about the defense. Defensively, they've recruited pretty well, RJ, in my opinion. Yep. Some of these guys, it was more of a development issue. Like Kwiatkowski, is he lauded as a super recruiter, or is he lauded as a guy who develops talent and gets him spun back over to the NFL? Like that's more of what Texas needs, I think, on that side of the ball. I think where the recruiting comes up short is your offensive line coach, because that's such an important hire. And Texas, you had the Corby Meekins of the world the very first year, and then you go to Herb Hand, and Herb Hand just didn't get it done. And I love Herb Hand, but he wasn't getting it done. And that trickles into the play calling and the coaching and everything else. And so getting somebody like a Kyle Flood, like, I'll put it to you this way, RJ. Texas went and hired the people that ruined our 2021 recruiting cycle. Mm. If you really think about it, Steve Sarkisian, Kyle Flood, Jeff Banks, they're the ones that were taking all these kids to Texas in the first place in 2021. So we went and hired them. So it's like, on the flip side of it, they seem to really understand that dynamic and that mix of getting the talent on board and getting these kids developed and showcased for the NFL.
So you mentioned what Jeff Banks and what Kyle Flood, among others, have been able to do, and I'm just gonna go ahead and pull up the 21 Alabama recruiting class, and they're the Brockermeyer twins. They're from Fort Worth. There's Kendrick Blackshear, who's been a 40-year-old man since he was 15 years old. Man, that dude. There's Jalen Milroe, who was in the boat and who name-checked your man Mike Yurcich on the way out. Like, that was good grief, right? And then, I know I wasn't your guy, and then you get Nick Saban on the phone going, but you mind? Like, what? I mean, you go down the list, right? So, rather than just continue to dunk on kids from Texas leaving to go at Alabama, Ohio State, LSU, you went and you paid top dollar to bring those dudes in to keep those guys not just in the state, but going to the flagship university in the state of Texas.